So yesterday we started with guys Exchange 2010 emailing system. You have it is Microsoft's own product Exchange. Just like Exchange, there are many other products companies have. For example, one of the biggest competitors of Exchange at the moment is IBM Lotus Notes. IBM Lotus Notes is also there out in the market for the same purpose. They offer emails and Exchange. Now, when going into Exchange 2010, we must understand the history of Exchange as well. Just like the history of Active Directory servers 2008 and all that. So we started with the NT4 start. It was NT 3.5, then 4, moved to 2000, 2003, 2008, 2012, 2016. And same goes for Exchange. And guys, when you go for interviews, you have to have this information in your mind, or have these kind of in your summary, all this basic information. That what was the history? It was started with Exchange 3.5, 5.5, then Exchange 2000 upgraded to 2003, then 2007, and then 2010, now 2013, and going towards 2016. Um, Now, all of these different versions, starting from here, going towards Exchange 2016, main purpose of all version is to deliver, receive emails. Very simple. I mean, if somebody even asks you, what do you know about the history? Yes, it's an emailing system. It started it with Exchange 3.5. It did not have that new features, but the purpose was exactly the same. Now, from 3.5 to 2000, here, this is a major change. So these were both almost alike, 3.5 and 5.5. But from 3.5, but 5.5 to 2000, it was a major architectural change. And then it goes on. This was upgraded to 2003, and this is also the time when the first time Active Directory was introduced in Windows Server 2000. So Windows Server 2000, Exchange 2000. Windows Server 3000, Exchange 3000. And then Windows Server 2008, and then Exchange 2007. And 2007 was upgraded to 2010, now going towards 2013, which is moving towards 2016. Major thing about this history. Major thing about this history, you need to remember how many roles were there in each of them. So roles. Yesterday we talked about how many? Five roles. There are five roles in there, starting with mailbox server role, cache role, hub role, and then you have edge transport server and unified messaging. Two of them are optional. Three are mandatory. Without those three, Exchange won't work. And yesterday we saw that how important those roles are. And if you are able to understand Canada Post system, you should be able to understand. Now you can correlate to Exchange. It's exactly the same thing. They just made roles because this is all done electronically inside the IT environment, inside the network. So they had to come up with these things here. Now, main purpose of Exchange or any version of Exchange, emailing is this. Two users need to send email to each other. If they need to send email to each other, they have to have some service that can help them. So the simplest would be two users need to send email to each other, could be just Gmail. They can both have also. Now they can both have Gmails. They can both have Gmail and send emails. But Gmail, guys, it's a public system. It's not owned by any corporate. So when it comes to different corporations like Rogers, like Bell, like Dell, they like to have their own emailing system. Maybe out of privacy, they have to have a privacy about their emails and all that, or they want to have a full control on their emailing system. In doing this, they can adopt Exchange 2010. Exchange 2010 provides us a complete emailing solution. Yesterday we went through this. Again, I'm just reviewing this information because repetition of few things can remain longer in our mind. I understand. I understand that yesterday was a very little time for installation. You can't do the installation. Even I did installation many times, but it took me 3 hours to do the installation. But it's not as complicated as SCCM. You will get error messages, guys. You will get error messages. As you can see in my video, I got those numerous error messages. Now, one of the very common error message that you will see, Windows 2008 automatically, when it starts, it automatically logs in with a non-admin ID. And as soon as it logs in with non-admin ID, you won't see a difference that, oh, is it logged in with administrator or non-admin? If it is logged in with non-admin ID and you start the Exchange setup on that, that non-admin ID does not have access to schema, and Exchange must extend schema. And just because of that, you would see many errors. So, I mean, it happened with me many times. In Server 2012, it doesn't do that. In 2003, it never did that. In 2008, it somehow logs in with non-admin ID. Although it is a domain controller, but still it logs in with non-admin ID. So make sure that you're logged in. And how do you make sure? Always keep an eye on this. So if you go here, this place, it should show that it is administrator and not your non-admin ID. As soon as you go through non-admin ID, it will give you many errors. And so most of the time, guys, this exercise is to prepare ourselves with how to deal with these error messages. You have to have that. You have to have that logic that how to trace the right error and go after right error. Now, why I'm saying this, sometimes you're not moving in a right direction, you just move into a different direction and error is somewhere else. So if some article or some steps are not making sense, try another article and then try another article. And eventually, with experience, you'll reach to a point where you can see that what should be the right solution for this. Now, I've seen that there is no one right solution. There can be many right solutions. Yes.
It is always recommended not to log in with the administrator ID. So to keep that disabled and have another ID which have certain privileges, so you can perform your tasks. So is it a good practice to log in with the admin ID all the time, or just give the other user the privileges?
Yes, for sure.
Keep this disabled.
For sure, yes. In real environment, this is disabled, this is renamed, this is actually not in use.
Sometimes they say rename it.
In real environments, yes. But for installation, for the first installation, we prefer to use this ID.
Yeah,
for any installation, even in real environment. Because this ID is flawless. There is no, in other IDs, you will see error messages, you will see many things. But as soon as installation is done, we disable it and not use it. Disable the administrator account. Disable the administrator account in real environment. Why? Because if many people start using it, you won't see any auditing information. So in real environment, we would just disable this ID and give people their own user ID so that they can use, and you can audit it. Okay, Exchange 2010 emailing system. Exchange not only provides internal email transfer, it also does external email transfer. So internal, to users sending emails to each other. External, users are sending email to maybe Gmail, Yahoo, ABC, XYZ, or any of those organizations, and Exchange does that all. This is the basic simple service of Exchange. Now, right here, from here and everything, this is how Exchange does this. How Exchange, what are the roles what is each role's responsibility, and then how is it accomplished? Now, guys, this could have been this here in this case, yesterday I mentioned, and again, this is a very important point, that Exchange 2003 had only two roles, a front-end server and a back-end server. So Exchange 2003 had two roles. Exchange 2007 started with 5 roles. So the first time when roles were introduced, they were in Exchange 2007, and those were again the same roles, mailbox, CAS, hub, ET, and UM. And then the same roles were upgraded to 2010. So 2000, mailbox, CAS, hub, ET, UM. And then in 2013, now there are only 2 roles. So mailbox and CAS is there, and actually CAS is doing the client connection point, and mailbox is doing the hub. So remember this. In 2013, actually mailbox is doing the hub function. So mailbox is doing the hub. So yesterday we saw the three mandatory roles were MB, CAS, and hub. In 2013, MB is doing the hub role. So this is why the other roles are not required. So you don't need extra server for hub. MB is doing the hub role. So again, going back to you can see that in 2003 it was 2 roles. After 10 years, again Microsoft goes back to 2 roles. So there are 2 roles in there. Other major difference.
Why they reduced it?
Hmm?
Why they reduced it?
It's just an architectural change. There are huge books written on this why they reduced it. But for us as being first to second level support, we have to go with the architecture. Now they must have some good reasons why they removed them, but it's not actually removed. I would say they are merged. Because you still need a transport, right? Here it seems like that hub is removed, but hub is not removed, guys. Hub is actually part of MB now. So MB is taking care of it.
It doesn't have a separate server for that specific role?
You can't have a separate server. Now, they thought, so yesterday, remember we saw here that if even 2 users are sending email and they're sitting in the same server, they still have to go out to the hub, and then the mail is sent back to the same person. Maybe because of these small little things, they thought that MB hub is better sitting with MB or inside MB, or MB should be doing the hub transport. But for us, we need to remember this. Yes, here in 2003 there were 2 roles, 2007 5 role, 10 5 role, and 2013 again 2 roles, and it's going on.
What are the 2 roles that are in 2015 now?
Mailbox and CAS, just mailbox and CAS. And guys, right here, right after that, we discussed that Canada Post system, that how our parcels or emails, mails are delivered and sent in this manner. You have, and then Exchange started with the very first concept, mailbox. Mailbox is the place where all your emails are stored. And mailbox has inbox, outbox, sent, and drafts inside. We also discussed a little bit, and later on we're gonna, when you create a new email, it is in drafts. When you click send, it is actually moved to outbox. So it is moved to out. So first one, it was here. Second, it was here. And when it is delivered successfully, then it goes here. This is number 3. And if it is not delivered successfully, then it ends up going back to inbox. So it is inbox, NDR. It would just say NDR, the email was not delivered properly. Now, in order to do these 4 things, there are these 4 roles here, 3 roles. First one, mailbox server role. What is the main function of mailbox server role? Responsible for storage. It is actually the storage of all your emails. And then it is a mandatory role. It is responsible for storing mails. And the one important service that does all this is information store service. So if information store service is down on a mailbox server role, mailbox cannot do anything. It won't let access to your mailboxes. Secondly, you have a client access role. Mandatory role, purpose? It is client connections. It is client connection. Without CAS, people cannot connect to their mailboxes. So this is, and what type of clients can be? Your computer is a client. My smartphone is a client. Your whatever is trying to access your email is a client. Your Android device can be a client. So anything and everything. So here, user connects to CAS. From CAS, they're connected here. So these are the 3 things that connect. Now, once users start sending emails or receiving emails, then comes the role of hub transport server. So hub does does your transport. Then comes your ET role, hash transport server, and unified messaging. So Edge is also a transport server. Oh, actually before that, hub, responsible for transportation of emails, transportation, internal or external. Now, why am I saying external? In a very small environment, hub can play the role of ET as well. So for now, yesterday when we were discussing, I said that ET is sitting here in firewall in DMZ, and ET is responsible for external email and internal flow. But guys, in a very small environment, they don't like to have ET. So if ET or Edge Transport Server is not there, then your hub can do the external as well. Hub can do external and internal. So hub can do. So if somebody says, can hub does a function of ET? Yes. Hub can be used as ET. Yes.
Just for a reminder, when the user sends an email, that first goes to the client access server?
No. So when user sends an email, so this is just a connection point. It is just a connection point. So from here, it is connected to Exchange server. But when he starts working with his emails, it is all done inside the mailbox. It is all done inside the mailbox. So and then we discuss ET. ET is a transportation server for external, especially for external. Guys, ET or Edge Transport Server is responsible for cleanup of emails as well. So meaning an email comes into your environment, it has viruses. So first it goes to the ET and ET scans it. As soon as it sees there is a virus, it rejects. And then an email comes into your environment and it is a spam. It is a spam, and spam has different grades from 0 to 9. So if it is a spam more than grade 7, if it is 5, 6, it can let this in. But it is if it is a spam, international, those are international gradings, and emails are, as soon as they are considered as spam and they are more than grade 7, they will be rejected. As soon as email comes to Edge and Edge sees that it's clean, it is for your environment, it stamps it, and that stamp goes with that email to everywhere, wherever it needs to go to. For example, an email sent to 100 people in your organization. First, it stops at Edge. Edge scans the email, sees that it is clean, then it is sent to. It is stamped. So why is it stamped, guys? Can you think of any reason why is it stamped? For verification on each Exchange server, on each hub. Let's say the email was sent to 100 people. So it was scanned here, and then it is led into this Exchange server. This Exchange server, because hub ET is sending to hub. ET only knows a person inside your environment, and that is hub. ET doesn't know there is a mailbox server, there is a cache server. The only person ET is talking to is hub. So hub needs to see, oh, is it stamped? Yes, it is stamped. Let it go. And then this Exchange server sends it to the Milton Exchange server. Here again it is scanned. Here it is again checked if it is scanned. Or if it is, now the stamp might be changed because you might have viruses from inside the organization. If it is changed and it is not stamped, this hub transport server will reject the email.
So if ET is not there, who will check the hub?
Yes, if ET is not there, then you're at risk. You have to do everything on the hub transport server. So this is, I mean, in very small environment. So this is a big difference between hub and ET. Guys, ET is automatically configured with hundreds of rules already. So ET has many anti-spam rules, many restrictions here. But if you ever need to use hub as ET, you need to do all those rules manually. So yes, hub can be used as ET, but you have to do all configuration manually here on hub. Yes.
So you know how you're saying hub server can act the same as a ET server on smaller environments?
Yes.
So would it still do the scanning and checking for viruses?
It won't, unless you configure it.
Okay.
Unless you, so this is what I just said, that ET is automatically configured with this. But if you want to use hub as ET, you have to configure everything manually on this, but it can be used. Okay, so here ET is external, and the last one was unified messaging, which is totally removed in 2013 and 2016. Why? Because unified messaging is totally a different product now. Or Link. It is now named as Link, and it is totally a different product. It is totally a telephony product now. Now, if you need to If you need to connect it to Exchange, yes, you can connect it to Exchange. But this is not a job of Exchange admin. You have to be a link admin. Yes.
Can you just briefly, repeat the process of sending and receiving mail if the users are connected to the same mailbox? So once the user sends the email, it goes to the Exchange server first. So like you mark, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at Canada Post.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah, just.
Okay. So start from here. User, mailbox is sitting here, but before user opens Outlook, and Outlook first connect to Exchange. But before connecting to Exchange, it's Outlook. So user opens Outlook. So here I would say a user opens Outlook and then connects to CAS server first. So it connects to CAS server. So basically, it goes to a CAS server. Let's say you are a CAS server, and I am a user. I would come to you, okay, I'm an Exchange user. I need to connect to my mailbox. Now, guys, CAS server has all the information which Exchange server my mailbox has. Because this is an Exchange server. It might be in this server, or it might be in that, or maybe it might be in another server. Maybe I am a user of Montreal and traveling to Toronto, and I'm connecting from your Toronto branch. But I must be connected to my Montreal server. So if I am a user of Montreal and I am in Toronto, I connect to my Outlook, I would connect to the local CAS. So I connected to the Toronto CAS. And I'm saying I need to connect. And the CAS automatically knows, everyone, people are keen to do the labs. You won't even get this. You won't even do the install. So guys, I'll give you the install time. Install time is during the week now. Because you won't be able to do, trust me, you won't be able to do the install at this moment. You have to spend, anybody was able to do the install? Anyone? You were able to do the install? Okay, excellent. You were able to do the install complete? How long it took?
3.5.
3.5 hours. And? 3.5.
It just finished installing.
Exchange?
Yeah.
Completely?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I have the console.
Open it. Okay, so I mean, you must have spent a lot of time yesterday.
Last time, the whole night.
Okay. Guys, Exchange is not as complex as SCCM. You will see once it is installed, it's just flows. Even installation, guys, trust me, this was a very, very difficult installation. They made it easier here, but it was still difficult. And now here it is doing all the prerequisites for us. Now the few prerequisites that you have to do, and that is spending like maybe an hour or 2 hours, this is actually made easier in 2010. Here it used to take more time. So guys, here each and every concept that I'm going to go through is very, very important. So, and I know, as being a student as well, I know when you start clicking, it's like you're outside the class. You're not listening. So here, we started here. A user, and as being an Exchange admin, and as being able to troubleshoot anything in Exchange, you must have this process very clear, very, very clear. This is called mail flow. Do you know the mail flow? In interviews, they would ask you, okay, tell me what is mail flow? Internal mail flow, external mail flow. Now, by mail flow, they mean that how user starts, wherever the user goes, which roles are used in this. So mail flow. In other words, just like you should be very fluent in Active Directory login process, you have to be very fluent in Exchange and mail flow. So login process. What is login process? Login process seems like very simple, but you have to have this all on your fingertips. What are those? For a login, you have to have IP address. You have to be connected to the network. You have to have DNS in your environment, because without DNS, people won't be able to go to DC. And with DNS, using SRV record, they go to DC. From DC, they are authenticated. Once they are authenticated, then user can log into the network. This is a login process. Mail flow system is this. Mail flow has nothing to do with login. You're already logged in. Now, if you're not logged in, then you need to first fix the login issues. Then comes mail flow. So mail flow is very simple. Mail flow is this. User logged in, user opens Outlook, and as soon as they open Outlook, the very first thing that it needs to connect to is CAS servers. Because CAS, just like in SCCM, MP is a Client access point. It is a client connection point. In Exchange, CAS is a client connection point right here. So responsible for client connections. So first thing, you connect to CAS. My CAS server is sitting here. I would open Outlook. And then I connect to CAS, and CAS needs to connect me to the Exchange server. So same thing. Number one, number two, and CAS knows that I'm a local user to this Exchange server. It connects me to this Exchange server. Number four. Not only to the Exchange server, then it connects me to the mailbox, my mailbox here. So my mailbox is basically sitting here in this. Once you are connected, then basically you should be able to open your inbox, this part. This part you cannot reach if CAS is down. If CAS is down, you cannot reach this part. If CAS is up, CAS will help you also for authentication. Because guys, as soon as you try to open this mailbox, you must be a legit user of this mailbox. It won't let any other user to open your mailbox. So basically, CAS goes to a DC here and helps you with the authentication. It would see that if this user is trying, so user open Outlook and use username and password. This username and password is sent to CAS. CAS, before it lets you connect to Exchange server, it goes to DC saying that is this username and password valid? And if it is valid, then CAS would let you connect to the Exchange server. Then you'll be able to open the mailbox, and this is how you can see inbox, outbox, sent, and draft everything. Question?
Yeah, just quick. So for the Outlook, it's single sign-on, right? As soon as, let's say that.
Exactly.
But when with Lotus Notes, because it's IBM product, you have separate password to log in, right? That's what I've noticed, like the difference between the two.
In Lotus Notes, you have a separate password.
Yeah, because our company used to have Lotus, and we had separate password for that. But they actually moved on to Outlook, and now it's only one.
Oh yes. Because I use Lotus Notes every day, and the day I started using is 6 years now. I hate it.
Yeah.
Because if you're an Exchange or Outlook user, you won't like it. It's not a user-friendly product. Yes, you're right. It has a separate ID file. It has a separate authentication. It is different. Yes.
So this is kind of go for the first intranet password, then.
Oh yes. You first log into the local network, and then specially log into Notes.
And if you're already logged in or authenticated by Active Directory, then again it goes to DC, or no, it doesn't have to go to DC?
No, it does go. But you won't see it. You won't see it. In the background, it is going to it. Yes.
Can you define mailbox flow?
So mailbox flow. So number one, number two, number. But I'll review this one more time. But let me complete this first here. Now you're right that Notes ask for again authentication. It's a different password. Here it is also doing re-authentication. When you open Outlook, it is also doing, but that is transparent to us in the background. And you will notice sometimes that at this point, when you open your Outlook, although you're logged in, but still sometimes it would say, oh, your password is not correct.
I think it does it when the Windows password expires.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, which means it does authentication after Outlook starts. So again, one more time, mail flow is discussed. Mail flow, this is internal mail flow. Later on, we'll be expanding it to external mail flow and everything. So here, user uses a username password, open Outlook. From here, it connects to CAS, because the CAS server is the client connection point. Now, the same thing happens if the user is on a smartphone. So on a smartphone, you still need to do the same thing. So same thing, smartphones. From smartphone, again, username and password sent to CAS. You will never directly go to MB. So from here, you will connect here, and then from here, it will help you with authentication. Once it is done, then you will be connected here, and now you'll be able to see everything. So these 5 points here. Now this is still not a mail flow. This is just a email login process. Now mail flow happens like this. In mail flow, still you'll be connected. You have to be all the time connected to your mailbox. Guys, this is the reason why this is called a mission critical application. So yesterday we wrote this word, mission critical. Exchange is a mission critical application. The reason is user must be logged into the mailbox 24/7, or during the time when he needs to access his mail. If this Exchange server goes down at any point, or if the mailbox is full and it's not connecting, or if DC is down at any point. So you see how many things are there, and or if the network card on your client machine is not working. In all these cases, you won't be able to log into Exchange. You won't be able to access your mailbox, and hence you won't be able to access your mailbox. You won't be able to send and receive any emails.
You were saying something about Windows password. If it expires, then
Yes.
so then you cannot log into your mail server.
You cannot.
No, you have to change it first.
Yes.
You
So
change it first.
It doesn't let you log in. So like with our company, the policy is every 6 days it expires. And each time when you log in, you're able to access your Outlook right away. But if the password expired, then you change the Windows password, then it doesn't let you automatically log in until you enter a new password.
exactly.
But if you're already logged in, then how is
How-
your password expires at that point?
Mhm.
After you log in,
Mhm.
log in,
Yeah.
and then you cannot connect to the.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
And guys, the reason is because Exchange is not using its own users; it's using Active Directory users. So whatever your domain policies are, your password policies are in Active Directory, they're working. Okay. So this is your user logged in. CAS, from CAS, you connect to Exchange. From Exchange, CAS helps you with authentication, and then you're logged in here. Now you're ready to send and receive emails. So at this point in your mailbox, you started with here. So after this, you need to go here. This is mail flow. So you actually created an email. When you created an email, it goes into that. Now, as being an Exchange admin, this is a very, very important part, because just by looking at user's inbox, you can see that where the issue is. It could be the issue if the mail is sitting in drafts, it means user never clicked send. So you would ask the user, have you clicked send? So it would say, oh, I forgot to do this. Because if the mail is sitting here, user never sent it. Now, if the mail is sitting in outbox, user clicked send, but it was never delivered to the other site. So it means when user click here and click send. Now in send, what happens? Yesterday I gave you a pointer that after send, what happens?
It goes to.
If it's not delivered, it goes out of mailbox.
Okay, it's there, but what happens on Exchange server? When user clicks send? Yes, you're right. It is a notification sent to Hub, because Hub is a role that is sitting there. So as soon as email is created here, and you click send. So what happens is from this mailbox, a message went to Hub server saying, I have an email for you. So Hub at this point goes to the email and then picks that email at that point. So this is why Hub is a transportation role. So what it does, now at this point, you created it. Here you click send. So you click send. It goes to the outbox. Now outbox is like a waiting area. So email is sitting there and Hub is trying to transport it. So although it is sitting in outbox, during all that time, Hub is now finding out where it needs to go to. For example, it needs to go to another user in the same Exchange server. So it finds it and then it delivers the email to this mailbox. So Hub is like that Canada Post person who would come and pick up the email and then deliver it. So, or if it needs to go to Milton Exchange. So in that case, Hub will transfer it to the Hub server of Milton. Just like Canada Post of one city would send it to the Canada Post of the other city. So just like that. So Hub, but guys, all this time, email is sitting in your outbox. But let's see, if Hub is not, Hub delivered it here, and this Hub says, no, I don't have this mailbox. In list you have it, but I don't, maybe it's deleted. So at this point, this email will be given back to this, and this Hub will try at least 3 times. So it will try 1 time, 2nd time, 3 times, and after 3rd time, the email will be removed from outbox, and you will be sent an NDR. And NDR is known as non-delivery report. Non-delivery. So if you get an NDR in inbox, it means Hub tried its best to send that email. Now, most of the time when you get an NDR, It is because of few reasons. For example, maybe you misspelled the email address. Maybe the email size is bigger than your organization's delivery limit. Or maybe it has some viruses. Maybe it has attachments that are not, for example, XZ attachment, executable attachment that are not allowed to be sent. So for all those reasons, guys, always remember one thing. Always remember one thing. This NDR, you people think that NDR is just another email, but guys, for us Exchange admins, NDR gives us a true message that what happened to that email. So we take NDR very seriously. Why? Because without NDR, if you get an NDR, you know that what's wrong with us. If you don't get NDR, then you need to troubleshoot more. So for us, NDR is very, very important. You would see that it is not here, it is not here, and it is not here. If it is successfully delivered, then it would end up going to sent items. If it is not successfully delivered, then it would go, you should receive an NDR. And if it is not here, here, and here, if it is not in draft, not in out, not in sent, not an NDR, it means hub is trying. Hub is trying. And sometimes that trial, depending on your company policy, it could take 24 hours to get you that NDR.
Did you say NDR stands for again?
Non-delivery report. It's a non-delivery report, yes.
And about that stamp that you said, stamp only looks at the spam.
Which one?
Is not the stamp.
Oh, the
The
ET?
ET, sorry, ET.
Yes.
When the mail is stamped.
Yes,
So
it looks for everything. Viruses,
Yeah.
anti-spams, malicious software scripts inside, or anything that is not allowed in your organization.
Is there something like, for example, if you write an email and send it to someone and then you misspell the address and went to the wrong person? So is there anything to check for that, or is just,
So if it went to a wrong person because you just had a typo,
Yeah.
no, there is nothing. So in my current contract, so my name is Syed Adnan. There is another Syed Adnan too, and his email and my email is totally different. But people, when they go to two and then they write Syed, always my name comes up and they just select and send. So I was getting all his emails, and I keep on sending them. No, you get the wrong person. But they still keep on, because this is because of auto
Naming convention.
auto naming convention. No, it is auto name resolution. So it automatically resolves it unless they fix it. Yes.
there's something
So
else?
there is nothing you can do.
There's
in
something
that.
else which is called signature. Is that a different thing? Signature? When you sign your mail,
Yes.
it's something different, right? It's just identifying.
That's just a signature. That's just a signature.
Does NDR show what the reason why the mail was built didn't deliver?
Oh yes, it does all the time.
Oh, so it tells you like if the
There will be a message in NDR. The message failed due to having executable extensions. Message failed due to bigger size of your email.
so it will tell you the reason.
It would. So for us, NDR is a very, very important message. If you didn't receive NDR and mail is still not, then you have to dive into Exchange logs, see where is the message, and there are tools for this. Yes.
Just to answer this question, there was an option in Outlook to recall that message. I don't know if exactly that is to cancel that email or just send that email, same email to the same user that I have sent that email by mistake.
Oh yes,
There was
Nasir.
an option to
Yes.
recall it.
So you can recall that email if it is sent to a wrong person.
Can you call it?
But this only happens if you know if you send it to a wrong person. Because most of the time you just send it
And you assume that
and
you sent it to
you
the right
just
person.
think that it is. Okay, excellent. Guys, today, so yesterday we saw these 5 roles.
Tanvi, user, so mail flow ends
Oh, वो नहीं
at
लगा।
user- Mail flow ends at users check the email, send the email, open the email. That's where mail flow ends.
Sorry, what?
Mail flow,
Huh?
does it end on user inbox?
It ends on user inbox. Yes, when the user receives NDR or the mail goes into sent.
So that's where the mail flow happens.
Yes, exactly. There is more to this, and we'll keep on adding things to that. Okay, yesterday we were here. Now guys, this is Exchange deployments, and this is very important to know that how many types of deployments are there for Exchange. Now, before starting this, we already know that companies are of three types. They can be small companies, they can be medium-sized companies, they can be large companies. Now, keeping in mind these roles, so you have a hub transport role for transportation, you have mailbox for storage of emails, you have CAS for client connection point, you have edge, this is also transportation, but for only external transportation. And this is telephony, which is VoIP, which is called Link nowadays, and it's totally different now. So here you have a small environment. In a small organization, you have one server with everything. In a small. So this is what we have in our first server. In our first server, it is a DC, it is a DNS, it is an Exchange server as well. So it is a mailbox server, it's a CAS server, it's a hub server. So small organization has everything in one server. In medium-sized organization, you might have these roles divided into few other servers. So just like here, you would see that here you have a mailbox server role. So and then you have a CAS and hub transport server role on these other servers. You have also an edge transport server that is sitting here on this side. Now, as soon as the organization starts growing, when they start growing, then you can have each dedicated server for each role. So this is your unified messaging server role. This is your hub transport. Actually, this is your CAS role. This is your hub transport server role. This is your mailbox server role here. No, actually, this is your mailbox server role because this has all of the mailboxes. So, and then you can have, so this is, and the fourth type of deployment was 365. 365 is a complete online service. It's a complete online service where Microsoft, where you can host all your mailboxes, all your Exchange things in 365 here. So these are four types of deployments that you can see in the market. Now, for Exchange server hardware is required, you have to have minimum 2 CPUs, then recommended 8 CPUs, maximum it can go for 24 CPUs. Plan on using half of the processor core for the mailbox server. Now, when you are architecting, you might not be architecting, but when you are architecting Exchange in any environment, guys, let's say I have 8 cores in my machine. So this is i7. i7 is quad core. 4 cores are there. i7 has 4 cores. So it is a thumb rule in Exchange. Use half of the cores for mailboxes and half of the cores for the operating system. It's a thumb rule in Exchange. So if I have quad core, I would keep 2 cores specially for Exchange. You cannot divide them, but don't put pressure, you don't put more 4 applications, so all your 4 cores are busy. No, you would keep half of the cores aside for them. Now, these machines are i7. In real server environment, 3650 M5, that had, I think it can have 4 CPUs with 4 cores each. So that gives 16 cores to this. And then you can add more servers, more CPUs inside. So now the more the cores are, so here it says plan on using half of the processor cores for mailbox server. In memory, recommended at 8 GB plus with 2 to 10 MB per mailbox. 2 to per MB. So now again, this is goes on to architecture level where you have 8 GB here total. So which means if you are planning to have let's say 5,000 mailboxes on this, 5,000. So 5,000 divided by 10. So this is 5,000 MB. This is 5,000 MB, and for each mailbox set aside 10 MB. And this is minimum. Now we are talking about RAM, guys. We are talking about RAM. So in RAM, the only thing you need to remember here is this: that if somebody asks you how much memory would you need for each mailbox, and so Microsoft recommendation is 2 to 10 MB, leave for just mailboxes. This is not the hard disk. This is the memory. When the user logs into Outlook and Outlook opens that, so leave 10 MB for each user. If there are 5,000 users, so you can calculate that how much memory would you need for 5,000 users on one server. So the point here is 2 to 10 MB. That's it. Otherwise, all other calculations you can go there. And then it is saying when combining server roles, reduce the number of mailboxes by 20%, which means that if on mailbox server role you have cache and hub 2, then reduce the number of mailboxes by 20%, because then rest of the memory goes to these other roles. And if you can combine server roles with mailboxes, there are in DAG members. So DAG is a clustering technology. It's a clustering technology inside Exchange, and we're going to go through this later on. DAG stands for Database Availability Groups. So later on, we're going to go through this. Now, Exchange Online Services. So options for integrating Exchange 2010 with Office 365. Now, what is Office 365? This is your Exchange environment, and you are also hosting your Exchange environment with Microsoft. And if you need to connect your Exchange system to Microsoft, you would need to buy the Office 365. So then we'll connect this network here. So which means you're using Office 365 and you're using your environment as well. This is known as hybrid environment. In hybrid environment, you keep some mailboxes in your network and some here, just to save cost. Otherwise, you can host your complete Exchange environment here, and then be very free of antiviruses, licenses, and all that. So here it is. Number one, Exchange Online Services. It is part of Office 365 from Microsoft. So if you ever need to go into Exchange Online Services, you need to contact Office 365. You need to go onto their website and then register yourself. Now, Office 365, if any company needs to try, so let's say you're sitting in any company, it happened with me, and they said, okay, what do you think about Office 365? Guys, Office 365 gives us a 30 days evaluation. So 30 days, I can register any company with Office 365 and work with it. 30 days, I don't have to pay them anything. So if any company is looking for Office 365 integration, they can check that out, test that out for 30 days. Before 30 days, if you cancel, they don't charge anything. After that, they are. So many companies fell into this trap, and they are now they have complete registration. So why I'm saying it's a trap? It's a 30 days, but in 30 days they get so many benefits. What are the benefits? Mailbox, VoIP services, smartphone. You have chatting, online chatting, the link chatting, everything is there, and complete Office. So they don't have to buy Word license, Excel license, and everything. So everything in $8 per user. Everything in $8 per user. They don't have to buy Office license. They don't have to have the complex Exchange structure. They don't have to worry about the backups of these and licenses and this and that. So $8. And last year's statistics was more than around 60 or 50% companies are already moved to Office 365. So everything is hosted. Even Rogers has decided to go on to Office 365. TD also going, yes. So huge, big organizations going there. Now here, it enables email coexistence, migration of mailboxes, global address links. It enables both on-premises and hosted mailboxes. So you can have some mailboxes in that are on-premises, and this is hosted. So when they are on here, they are hosted mailboxes. Now here, infrastructure requirements for Exchange is you must have AD. Without AD, Exchange won't work. You must have DNS. Without DNS, it won't work. Minimum is so you must have Schema Master must be running with 2003 SP1 or newer, or 2008 or 2008 R2 or 2012 now, and the global address list, and all the servers must be GC. We studied that yesterday. All must be GC. So must be configured with domain controller and global address name resolution. So DNS is automatically actually configured with these two things. You have Exchange Server 2012 requirement. Now this was the requirement of Active Directory. Active Directory minimum you have to have Active Directory. Minimum you have to have 2003 functional level. Domain and forest functional level minimum 2003. Max 2008 is fine. And then what is exchange requirement? Exchange requirement on each server is 64-bit, number one. Number two, you have to have at least 2 GB of memory. Number three, for additional rows, you must have more memory. And then for disk, 1.2 GB at least for Exchange server, and 200 megs of memory for each mailbox. So you're planning to have 200 mailboxes, so you need to have 200 MB of each mailbox. For 200 mailboxes, it is kind of 2 gigs. 4 gigs. So 4 gigs. So you have 4 gigs. So this is minimum. These are minimum requirements. The more, the better. Software requirements, 64-bit. 64-bit of everything. Then you have AD. You have to have .NET 3.5. You have remote management tools, PowerShell, and components. So while installing Exchange, you have to have RSAT tools on these servers. So here, if you're installing Exchange on a domain controller, you don't need RSAT tools. But in our second server, we are going to install Exchange on a second server that's a member server. So in this member server, before installing Exchange, just make sure that you install RSAT tools on this.
So installing Exchange on all of these, or just
Yes, we'll be installing on all these. So later on, at the end, we're going to have 3 Exchange servers. And at the end, we're going to have another organization with another Exchange server. Then we're going to connect these 2 Exchange servers. So for now, in our environment, we're going to have 3 Exchange servers. So by next week, please have 3 Exchange servers
do
ready.
you need RSAT on server also?
Not on DC, but RSAT on both of these other member servers. Okay. Deploying Exchange, you can deploy Exchange roles on virtual machines. So yes, here guys, you can deploy Exchange role on virtual machines, design Exchange server deployment. Now, since now virtualization is so much matured, that almost all applications can be deployed in virtual environment. Almost all of them. Before it used to be, okay, Exchange. No, Exchange never virtualized it. Now you can virtualize. There is only one requirement. One requirement for Exchange. It is written in documentation, not written here. And that one requirement is that everything should be thickly provisioned. For Exchange, nothing should be thin provisioned, which means if you can recall your VMware knowledge, you can thickly provision the storage. Can I thickly provision CPU?
No.
No. Can I thickly provision RAM?
No. Yes. Yes. No.
Yes. How?
You can
use the balloon table. You use the RAM whatever you want. Yes, RAM. The balloon table will be used for the game. Whatever you want. If you set limit 4 GB.
Hold on. No. Guys, remember reservations, limits, and shares?
Yeah.
So reservation and limit and share is for CPU and RAM, remember? So that is thick provisioning. So when you have Exchange server as being virtualized, not only your storage should be thickly provisioned, your CPU should be reserved for Exchange. So you must have reservation for CPU. You must have reservation for RAM, especially for Exchange. So this is what it is said. Your Exchange should be thickly provisioned. Everything. So remember this. All 3 things can be thickly provisioned by using reservation, limits, and shares. Okay. So here, design of Exchange server deployment, fully utilize server resources, consider the high availability feature of Exchange as an alternate to highly available virtual machines. So here, this is another very important point. Here, this is saying, do not rely on high availability feature of VMware ESXi. Do not rely on that. have Exchange have its own high availability. So we do remember that in VMware you have DRS, we have SPRS, we have vMotion, you have high availability, you have FT in that. So this is saying, Exchange is saying, consider having high availability feature in Exchange itself and as an alternative to a high availability on virtual machines. Yes, virtual machines are providing you high availability, but for Exchange, go for its own cluster. So this is why. And there is a reason for this, because Exchange has its own type of cluster, and that cluster can only manage Exchange. The HA in ESXi, high availability, or in Hyper-V, they cannot give you that level of high availability that is required in Exchange. So this is another thing. Third thing is consider using latest virtualization platform, latest Exchange server version. So whatever your latest version is, ESXi 6 is out. SCVMM, which is System Center Virtual Machine Manager for 2012 is out. So have those. Design virtual hardware using the same criteria for physical machines. So whatever is your physical criteria, so this last point is just this, which is this one. So it is saying that you have to have minimum 2 GB of memory. Recommended is 4 or 8 memory. So all your physical machine criteria should be fulfilled in virtual environment. Now, this slide is very important for nowadays since you'll be dealing with all virtual environments. So if you're dealing with virtual environment, point number 1, everything should be thickly provisioned. Point number 2, have Exchange its own high availability. Point number 3, have latest version of your virtualization. And point number 4, fulfill all your physical requirement based on the documentation. Question?
Yes, sir. Going back to high availability, so the high availability in VMware, that will be the high availability for that virtual machine of Exchange.
Yes.
High availability in Exchange, that will be the
for the databases. For the databases.
So there are two different.
There are two different high availabilities.
Why are you saying that do not rely on that high availability?
Because yes, virtual machine high availability is this. You have host number 1 and host number 2. Since you are all aware of ESXi, so it's easier for all of us to understand. Here you have, let's say if you go to FT. Let's say if you go to FT here. In FT you have one primary, one secondary, right? And let's say if you go to high availability, HA. So you have 2 hosts and VM is running here. The host died and the machines are restarted here. So you lost it. But guys, there is more to this in Exchange. In Exchange, we must understand that this is your Exchange server. There are mailboxes. These mailboxes, right after this these slides, we're going to see that these mailboxes are sitting in a database, in a very special database. And if this database goes down, then none of the mailboxes are accessible. So guys, why Exchange is saying it has its own high availability? Because if this database goes down, your VM high availability cannot do anything for this. Because this is internal to Exchange.
SQL database?
No, it has its own database. It has it just like Active Directory database. It has its own database.
So if database goes down, then
all mailboxes are down.
So that high availability
is enabled, then it would automatically move mailboxes from one database.
For if Exchange high availability is there, then what it can do, it can leave this database. There is another database which is exactly the same. It would connect user to that database, and that is called DAG. And I'm going to go into more detail about DAG later on. So for that, remember to have Exchange wants to have its own high availability. Now guys, Exchange installation. Exchange installation goes through all these steps here, and the steps are: you need to install prerequisites, then you run the setup, then you run the language pack, which is part of the CD actually. Once you start the CD, it is right there, and then you choose options of Exchange 2010. The options are would you need to install one role or all of the roles. Now, always remember with Exchange installation that Exchange installation most of the things you need to just next. But few things you need to do. For example, what type of installation do you want to go through? Typical or custom? So typical or custom. Guys, typical If you go with typical installation, it can only do 3 roles. It can only do 3 roles. So typical means you need to have MD, you need to have CAS, you need to have hub. So typical automatically select all these 3 roles. So even in interview questions, if they ask you what is a typical installation, it has only 3 roles. So ET and UM are not there. But if you need to do custom is that you need to install only one role, or maybe you need to separate those roles in different servers. So typical means, so most of the time on all of these servers, we're going to have a typical install. Now, once you have typical install, you need to choose the installation type right here. Then you need to provide the Exchange organization name. Yesterday we talked about Exchange organization name. Guys, Exchange organization name has one-to-one relationship with who? Forest. In one forest, one Exchange organization. Now, if you ever need to have another Exchange organization, you must have another forest. You must have a new forest. So, and once this Exchange organization name is done, you cannot change it. So, Exchange. Huh? So this was Exchange org. Exchange org. Okay. Exchange org. I mean, once it is done, it is done. If you need to ever change it, then you need to reinstall it. So an organization name is selected. Then there is another option called choose option to enable Outlook 2003. Now Outlook 2003, guys, it is at this point that it is asking you that do you have any clients that are using Outlook 2003? If not, after this point, you won't be able to enable Outlook 2003. Now, why is it asking? Why is it asking? Guys, it is asking because Outlook 2003 uses some features, some options that are not available in Exchange 2010. Outlook 2003 is using some features, some options that are not available in 2010. Which means at this point, if you say no 2003, it will go without installing those features. But if you say yes, then it would add all those things that are required for 2003 in your current installation. So now most of the environment all are using Outlook 2010. You don't need this option.
If you skip this by mistake and then later on you're trying,
you can install it. Yes, you can add it, but then you have to take down the complete Exchange. So it is a downtime on Exchange, and it will be difficult. It won't be just very easy.
Is it temporary clients?
No. You don't have to install Exchange. But guys, in Exchange, one thing is very important, and that is 24/7 availability. In order to do this, you have to take down Exchange and then install it. So it will be, and if you have a large environment, it will be more difficult because then you'll have to add this to each Exchange server. 40 Exchange server, all Exchange server you need to do.
Hiring a contractor and they have, older version of Outlook.
You won't hire them. Oh, you're using old Outlook. Man, you haven't upgraded yourself. Get out. No, if they are using, then definitely you can tell them, you know what, we are not giving you email address because we don't support this. So probably, guys, most of the people are using latest. Why? Because not only Outlook is old, it has many features that doesn't work with the newer.
I'm going to say, is it better to enable this from the start or just?
If you're 100% certain that you don't have them, just keep it disabled because it just adds some things that you need to troubleshoot later.
Okay.
That you need to troubleshoot later for no reason.
So it will be more complex.
It will be a bit more complex. It will be more. Now, the one thing that you can remember for Outlook 2003, guys, it is as soon as you enable this option, then it will add public folder to your environment. And public folders. So it adds, if you enable this option, it will add public folder to the environment, and public folders are not supported in 2010. So public folders are shared folders in Exchange. So I'm just giving you an example. If you add this, it will add few things that Exchange doesn't support. So for that reason, if you know that you don't have these, don't enable it. because you can enable them later on at any point. So that's the only thing. Now here, configure the cache server external name. So if you need to have cache server external name, and again, basically in a small environment you don't even need, even in a large environment you don't need that. Later on we're gonna select a name for our cache server, but for now, when you're doing the install, don't select it. Now here, guys, Exchange installation can be done through command line as well. So Exchange installation can be done in all these command lines. For example, roles. You can just run setup slash mb, setup slash m, setup slash pt. So you can do this through a command line as well if you want. And most of the time, if you ever need to do this, through a command line, guys, you will find these all commands already made. You don't have to even think that which parameter goes where. You just take the command, put it in your environment, run it. Okay. So we need to do the Exchange installation. We needed to do it yesterday. Actually, these slides I cannot give it to you. These are Microsoft slides for instructor based. So this is what I said yesterday. Try to have as much notes as possible for this. And I'll be creating videos for everything, so you can follow the videos. Okay, so
I was there. I stopped because I thought you were offended by the plastic case.
that's the case. That's going to take all pictures. Guys, the truth is you're never going to go through these slides. It's just that the satisfaction. Oh, I have the slides.
No, I just wanted to run with the requirements.
When we are reviewing the slides,
Really?
because a lot of
Maybe we can do something. Maybe you can do something. Not from my computer. Yeah, you see this?
The people don't know. I will download.
Yeah, this is the see.
What is this? Number 10?
1013B. There is 1013A as well. I mean, these are available everywhere, guys. Okay. So, guys, now I'm going to show you. Exchange server. We need to go through Exchange server console. We need to know how to read this console. Why? Because if you don't, then you don't know how to work with Exchange. In Exchange, once it is installed, you can see EMC here. Now, what is EMC, guys? EMC is Exchange Management Console. Exchange Management. So just like ADUC for Active Directory users and computer, DNS Manager for DNS, SCCM console for SCCM management. Here, this is EMC, and EMC is Exchange Management Console. Exchange Management Console, guys, exists inside here, inside Exchange 2010 when it is installed. Now, Exchange, as soon as you start this, guys, as soon as you start Exchange, it would load. But while it is loading, I want to show you one more thing. That Exchange, as soon as Exchange is installed, it will install 7 or 8 services inside Windows services. So we always need to keep an eye on those services. And guys, especially in VMware environment, especially in this environment, guys, since we do not, every day we shut down these machines, every day you start them up, console can get corrupted easily. So for that reason, I would highly recommend to have a good snapshot of your running Exchange. In real environment, you cannot even think of shutting down Exchange servers. Because as soon as you do, it will affect your Exchange. It will affect your Exchange. So, but here, since you do, you would see a lot of errors like these. For example, here it's saying it was not able to connect to Exchange. Although So what I do in this environment, I have one snapshot that is ready. I took it when Exchange was running, and I was connected to that console. So yes, you can do a lot of things. You can restart. You can revert back. But guys, here we must understand that here you have many Exchange services working. Many users are connecting. So this database is more active than Active Directory. Active Directory is a huge database. But guys, Exchange is even dealing with even smaller bits. In Active Directory, so let's compare Active Directory with Exchange. So this is your Active Directory and this is your Exchange. Guys, why am I comparing them? Because both of them are using the same database strategy. Both of them are using exactly the same type of database. Now, this is your DC, and as soon as DC is installed, we all know that it installs the NTDS. Guys, exactly the same thing when you install Exchange. What it does, it creates one default database for us. So here, let me start with this. So okay, so it came back after a few moments. So you can give it some time, and sometime it would just completely error out. So here it says that it is 118 days license, and then it gives you this complete console. Now within the console, if I go onto this, here the hierarchy starts from here, Exchange on premises. And how many types of Exchange exist in 2010? On premises and online. This on premises and online is first time introduced in Exchange 2010. Before it used to be only on premises. On premises simply means that everything you have in your company. And online means you have it here in Office 365. So that means that even when you can connect from EMC, when you're connecting from EMC, you can connect to online as well from the same console. All you need to do, just connect this console to online, and then you can. Here it's showing me on premises. Within on premises, guys, here it is. So before going on to this, let me complete it. So Exchange, for now, we know that Exchange server has mailbox server role. As soon as mailbox server role has mails inside. So these are mails inside. And here you have a user who connects to Exchange through Outlook or OWA. OWA stands for Outlook Web Access. This is known as Outlook Web Access. Now, this simply means both are clients. The only difference is for Outlook, you need to install complete MS Office. From MS Office, you can install this product. If you don't have MS Office, you can just go to this web link for OWA web link. You can connect through to this. But then again, between this, there is who? CAS. So CAS through this client or through this client. You connect to CAS, from CAS you will be connected. This is how much we know. Guys, at this point, I want to give you a biggest difference between 2007 and 2010. 2007 and 2010, as we know, they all have 5 roles. How many roles? 5 roles. So there is MB, CAS, Hub, CT, and UM. MB, CAS, Hub, UM. The biggest difference between 2007 and 2010 is this. So here you have the same user. Connects through Outlook and connects to OWA. Connects to where? Exchange server. This is Exchange 2007. Now, the same example you can quote in interviews if they ask you more. What is the biggest difference between 2007 and 2010? So here this is Exchange 2010. Both have exactly same number of roles. But the biggest difference is that here, whenever the user connects from Outlook, user used to connect directly to Exchange servers. Only Outlook is a client that does not need CAS. CAS was there before even, but all other clients other than Outlook. So OWA goes to CAS, then goes to Exchange. Smartphones goes through CAS, then goes to here. BlackBerry devices go through CAS, goes through this. SMTP devices, anything other than Outlook, everything used to go from here to here. Only Outlook used to directly connect to Exchange.
So web access is like when you're out, like outside of your company. Like,
yes.
You're not on that. Like let's say you took your
Exactly. So it's a web access. It's a web access. It will give you the same access as Gmail. So Gmail is web access. Everything web access. Here, this is. So guys, now this was 2007. Same roles, same configuration, same mail flow. The only thing was all Outlook clients are also known as MAPI clients. They're also known as MAPI, M-A-P-I. So later on we're going to go into that. This is actually in CAS chapter. But this is, I want to give you these things, and we keep on repeating them so that we can remember them. So the biggest difference between this and this was MAPI clients, and MAPI means Outlook clients. So Outlook clients used to directly connect to Exchange, whereas all of that. And they changed this in 2010. Where now all of the clients are dependent on CAS now. They are not allowed to directly connect to Exchange. So now they said, okay, Outlook. Because this created some issues in 2007. Because these clients were directly connected to it. Now, especially in the case of when the user is traveling to another city, and user needs to connect to Montreal, his own Exchange server. So user would bypass everything in local and then connect directly to Exchange. So now in 2010, and this is one of the reasons, but then here you need to remember 2007 and 2010. 2007 and 2010. Remember the difference. There are more differences I'm going to go through in later on, but this is one of them. So guys, here, let's look at this. Active Directory creates NTDS. It creates NTDS. Once NTDS is created, guys, we all know how many partitions are there? 5 partitions. How many FISMA rows? 5 FISMA. Guys, everything and anything that is stored in Active Directory, this is all stored in one file that is known as ntds.dit. And then there are many helping files as well. Do we remember? There are many helping files as well. But here, let's look at this here. Exchange. In Exchange, guys, it automatically creates one database. So basically this square that I made, and in this square you have mailboxes. Guys, this square is known as Exchange database. Exchange DB. And each Exchange DB actually is a database like this. So basically this database is this, and it has mailboxes inside. So just like you have one file as ntds.dit, in Exchange, this has a file called mailboxdb1.edb. EDB file. It is an EDB file actually. So it is EDB file. It's the same type of database as Active Directory. So Active Directory, here it is storing mailboxes. But here, instead of mailboxes, it has OUs, it has users, it has computer accounts, it has group policies, it has everything. It has schema, configuration, domain, and everything. Mailbox 1. So this is your mailbox database name, and this is EDB. DB1. Is this OB? Okay, so DB. Now this is the name of the database, and this is the database file. Guys, why we came to this comparison? Because I wanted to tell you that this can affect working with Exchange. Now we must remember that Exchange is dealing with bits here. Active Directory is dealing with bigger objects. Now, although this is also dealing with bits, because everything is stored in bits and bytes. But here, why I'm saying this, now, this is just to give you a quick view of how Exchange is more important than Active Directory. Guys, here, let's say you have user accounts. So let's say 5 user accounts. And 5 user accounts have how many connections to Active Directory? 5 user accounts have how many connections to Active Directory? Number 1, they have user accounts. They have a computer account inside. They might have a GPO attached to them. They might have some permissions attached to them. They might have some groups attached to them. This is maximum that can go. And now look at these 5 users in Exchange. Guys, the same 5 users, this has its own mailbox, this has its own mailbox, and all other them. It seems like less number of objects connected here. This is more objects. But guys, what do you think? Which one is more busy? Which one can make the server more busy? These users or these users? Exchange users. Why? Because, guys, your mailboxes can be as big as 5 GBs. They can be 15 GBs, 20 GBs. And they are all the time 24/7 connected to each mailbox. And they are sending, receiving, sending, receiving. One person can send email to 100 people. And 100 people can send email to 100 people. So which means your Exchange server is busy big time as compared to Accelerate. For that reason, guys, in that case, let's see this case. So here you have the complete machinery working like this. So there are this machinery working. Active Directory and everything and this. Now within this machinery working, you just restart Exchange. If you restart Exchange in this, definitely something will go wrong. Because there are hundreds and hundreds of users connected to their mailboxes, sending, receiving hundreds and thousands of emails. And those hundreds and thousands of emails, your CPU is actually over busy. So for that reason, you would have. Guys, this all thing is just to show you that when we restart Exchange, we always properly shut down the database. We'll go into databases, shut down the database. What it does, when you shut down a database, it will properly do everything, whatever was in the memory of Exchange, it will properly write it to the database and then shut it down. Once the database is shut down, meaning nuclear reactor is shut down now. It is literally, I can tell you, it is. So this is why, guys, Exchange server admin's life is a hell when Exchange server goes down.
Question now, you mentioned that the storage should be fully provisioned. Now the mailboxes, for example, if per user is the 5 GB mailbox, it's fully provisioned, then we have to have that much space allocated for each user.
You have to do proper planning, designing, and everything. Now this is, I just give you an example. Yeah, I mean, in many companies it might be just 2 GB, maybe 1 GB. Microsoft, by the way, is okay, I'll give it to you. Okay, guys, everyone. Guys, what happened? Ali, you started it and he started responding. What's happening? What's the dialogue?
No, he never even did nuclear. He never even fired.
Oh man, nuclear. Okay, it took you in a different domain. Okay, here, guys. Let's come back to Exchange. Everyone, look at this. Guys, everyone. We're gonna go for a break. We're gonna go for a break. But let me complete this one time. I know this is actually up.
Okay, that's not the way you expected.
Ali, it shouldn't be for you. This is your 10th time. I mean, we can understand it's boring like hell for you. It's only 10th time. You're repeating this. Okay, here.
So how do we have to repeat it? How many times to get a hold of it?
Guys, if you pay attention the first time,
Yes.
it's just the first time.
So it's just Mr. Ali. It's just him.
He's not paying attention even from the first time. His attention is always whenever I say any other word, he goes over there. So I said nuclear, he went out. Okay. Guys, the only thing that I want to say by making all this is that here in virtual environment, when you start Exchange servers, the services might not be running because you never shut them down properly. In real environment, we never shut down Exchange server. Never.
We don't have an extra backup database.
We do. So this is where we're going to discuss DAGs. So there are database availability. We're going to discuss. But here, yes, plan. You always have to do planned downtime. So in your virtual environment, whenever you see this is not working, so for that I have a proper snapshot. So you can revert back. But remember this: if you revert back one server, you need to revert back all three of them. Because if you revert back in a previous state, this says again they're not in sync. So you need to revert back everything. In my case, it gave me an error message, but here it did show up here everything on the screen. Yes. Question?
I was just thinking that in addition to the main to the server, Exchange server, is there anything cached on the local mailbox also?
Yes, everything is cached. Everything is cached.
So, for example, sometimes there's nothing wrong with the Exchange server, but the network goes down.
Guys, I can't hear his question. Thank you.
Like sometimes there's nothing wrong with the Exchange server, but the router goes down, and the network goes down.
Yes.
A router or a switch or whatever. So then, in order to retrieve the mail, if the mail is cached,
they can work. They can just work with offline messages.
Okay.
They can just work with offline messages.
Because once 2 years back, Rogers data center, network went down, and the users were disconnected for like so long. I think it was so many hours. And what happened was they did something to the actual network. They were installing some Sony Ericsson module or something. They took down the whole network. Then they had to move into another data center or whatever. But for users who are disconnected for 16, 17 hours.
Yes, there will be. So it was planned downtime, not unplanned, right?
It was unplanned.
Oh, it was unplanned?
It crashed.
Oh, wow. Then Exchange servers would have, Exchange admin blamed them.
Yeah, users lost email. Nobody was able to,
Okay. Okay. So guys, here, I'm just going to go through this screen for next 10 minutes and then just look around what is in this console, how to use it, what is in here. So as compared to Active Directory, guys, it has a little more information, but it's not complex. It's very simple to go through. Just like any other machine. So you have vCenter. In vCenter, you have a hierarchy. You have vCenter, then data center, then cluster, then ESXi host. You have VMs, and then you have all the. So exactly like this, it has its own hierarchy. Now in this, so here. Oh, it is being recorded. Okay, so here, guys, Exchange starts from EMC, number one. EMC is Exchange Management Console. It is the main console of Exchange. So as being an Exchange admin, your most of the time will be spent here. As being a VMware admin, your most of the time is spent in vCenter. As Active Directory admin, your time spent in ADUC. And as SCCM admin, SCCM Management Configuration Manager. So in this, it is your EMC. Within EMC, you have everything. You have complete Exchange servers. Now, in this, it starts from the very first here, Exchange server. This is where Exchange server will show you the summary of your environment here. Now, the summary of your environment is databases. Total databases at the moment is 1. And then you have total database copies is none, is actually 1 itself. But there are no other copies. In DAG, when we do clustering in Exchange, we are going to create many copies of one database. So if you have many databases, you will have. Now, guys, when the first time you start Exchange EMC, when the first time you start, these values will be 0 and it would say unavailable. The first time when you do it. So what happens is all you need to do is you need to do collect organization health. So when it says unavailable, it's just saying that it does not have the data from your Exchange server. So all you need to do collect organization data health, and it opens this console, and from here you go next and next collect. Now it goes into your environment, collects all that information, and that information will be displayed here on this screen. So this is why in the first time it would say unavailable. The data is not there. So one is this. While this is done, so it gives you this summary here. And now in server summary, it shows you that how many servers do you have in this environment. So here, so the collection ended. in here, guys, it is also showing you all the PowerShell command that it ran in the background. So this is the PowerShell command it ran for this. This is the PowerShell command it ran for collection. Actually, this is the command here. This is what it is doing. Now in servers, it says total number of server is 1. Exchange 2010 server is 1. 2007 no. 2007 server no. 2003 servers. Client access server 1. Hub transport server 1. Unified messaging 0. Exchange 2010 unlicensed. So if you go, how many Exchange 2010 unlicensed? 1. So basically this summary is very, very important. If you go to any new environment, you can find out how many total mailbox services are there, how many caches are there, how many hubs are there. So this is all here. And then here it shows you recipient summary. So what is recipient in Exchange? Users. Users with mailboxes. So users without mailboxes are not considered as Exchange recipient. So here it says you have total 2 recipients here. Now if you need to see how many users have mailboxes, you can just go to manage mailboxes. It would show you that who are the 2 users who have email account. So by default there are only 2 that have email. Now guys, this is very important to know. This is very important to know that although my Active Directory has other users as well. So if I go to my ADUC and open ADUC, here I see there are other. So there is a guest account which is disabled. There is another account. Now these accounts, not all accounts will have the mailboxes. So in the beginning, it is possible. So you need to attach email or create emails for all of them. But once Exchange is created, Exchange is installed on a domain controller, guys, it will ask you to create a mailbox. Now, this is another big difference between 2007 and 2010. And that big difference is in 2007, we used to create mailboxes right from ADUC as well. And now all mailboxes must be created from here, from Exchange Management Console. In 2007, 2003, we used to create mailboxes from ADUC. But here, if you need to create a new mailbox, you just go here, new mailbox. So once you create a new mailbox here, let me create just a new mailbox. It's a very simple wizard. It's just saying that, okay, you want to create a mailbox. What type of mailbox do you want to create? You want to create a room mailbox, equipment mailbox, linked mailbox. I'm going to go through that later. For now, I'm just creating a user mailbox, yes.
And this is an Exchange 2010?
This is Exchange 2010.
Create a user in Exchange first before creating it in Active Directory?
So this is what I'm going to show, yes. So either you go create a user in Active Directory and use that user here with the mailbox. Or you can create a mailbox, and while creating a mailbox, you can create a user as well. So right here, it's first saying what type of mailbox do you need? I need a new mailbox. So Ali is a new employee in our company. We're going to create a mailbox for him. So user, mailbox, and next. And right here, it's saying, does this user exist in Active Directory? If the user exists in Active Directory, you just go existing users. It will go find that user in Active Directory. Or if not, then you can go new user. And you would say, okay, this is a new user, and then you can specify a OU as well, which OUs this user will go into. If not, then this user is going to be in users OU. So here, and now I'm going to give this user a name. Ali and M Ali, sorry. Container. It's a container. And then again, the same thing that it would ask you for, logon name, M Ali, and the password. We're going to use the standard password. So whoever has Exchange, please keep on doing it, guys. Next exercises, next week's, these exercises will be more complex. So please make sure that you have Exchange ready. And there won't be time to copy existing Exchange environment, guys. You must be able to install Exchange. It's not difficult. Now here, alias of this mailbox. So alias of this mailbox is basically Mali. Mali, M Ali. M Ali. So M Ali. He is Mali of them. Very simple person. So Mali. Mali. M Ali. So and here guys, we don't have to select anything in here. Now here it says that if you have multiple Exchange databases, you can create this account in a specific database. Or if not, it would automatically select a database for us. So for now, we're just going without selecting anything and just create a new user. So it creates a user, and it would create a mailbox as well. As soon as you create this mailbox, you can go back to the summary and see that it would show you more recipients are made. Yes.
So it would be better to create the user exchange first than creating it in Active Directory, because when you do it like this on Active Directory.
Yes, it can be done. Yes, and mostly in most of the organizations, this is how it is done. A new employee joins in. New employee goes to HR. HR clears them, and HR send a request to Active Directory team. Active Directory creates an account. They send a ticket to Exchange team, and then they create an account. So most of the time, guys, in large companies, Exchange admin does not have access to Active Directory. And Active Directory people have no access to Exchange. So this is totally different. But nowadays, guys, this all happens automatically. You don't have to do this manually. It is all done through a script. So you filled a form. That form went to your manager. Manager approves it. It goes to HR. HR approves it. And at the same time, it goes to Active Directory. They just click one button and everything is done.
There are separate admins for Active Directory.
In large organizations, yes. You don't have domain admin. You're only Exchange admin. You only care about Exchange. Now here the user is created. Now the most important thing here is now log in with this account and see that if it is working. Now guys, in order to log in with this account, first of all, this is my Exchange environment, and here I can see Muhammad Ali account is made, and it is part of canif.pri domain. It's a user mailbox, and the email address is mamali@canif.pri. In order to test this account, you need to have a email account. You need to have a email client. So in order to have an email client, we have a client machine here on which we can install Outlook. So we can install actually I was testing a software on this. So you can install an Outlook in this. In this Outlook, you get now if you don't have Outlook, we can use OWA. Now guys, how do you know the link of OWA? Guys, it's right here. So if you go to client access, so I mean most of the time you won't know the link of Outlook, or if you don't know the link of Outlook and you're Exchange admin, within the console you can go to client access, and within client access right here under this it says OWA. So under server configuration, under client access, guys, write it down in your notes how to find OWA. How to find OWA, because this you will be keep on finding every day, because we need this client every day. So you need to go to EMC. Under EMC you need to go to server configuration. Under server configuration you need to go to client access. Under client access you go into OWA. And once you double click on OWA, it is here that gives you a link. So this is the internal link. Now this link, you just right click and copy this link and then take it to Internet Explorer. Now Internet Explorer, guys, I would advise that before running this, go into Server Manager and switch off IE Enhanced Security. So just switch off, because it would just keep on asking you. So this is IE Enhanced Security in Server Manager. So once it is there, you need to switch it off. Otherwise, it just keeps on asking you many security questions. So I just went into Server Manager and then go into Configure IE and just disable it. So I'll close this one more time and go into IE. Guys, this is the first time we're logging into a mailbox. So here, all you need to do, put in this address, paste the address that you just copied from client access role, and then enter. Now once you press enter, just like in vCenter, it asks you these certificate questions. So you just need to go into this second option, and once you do, now it is connecting to Exchange. So it's going through CAS. It goes through CAS, and CAS is trying to connect you to Exchange. So first of all, before it connects you to Exchange, at this point it is just connecting to CAS now. Yes.
Do you have to do that like for every single new user that you add in Exchange?
No, this is so. This is just I'm just verifying that if this account works. It's all up to you. But here, since we need to see that if this account works, and we need to send email, so that's why I'm doing it. So your very first client, mail client is, email client is M Ali, but before that it is OWA. You're using OWA to connect to Exchange, right? Question? Okay. So here, guys, once you do, what I do is, guys, here I'm gonna put it in my favorites here, so that I don't have to remember this link. If it is in your favorites, it will be. You can just go to now. Here, all you need to do, it strictly says use a domain name with this. So don't use just a username. So you would just say Kanif/M-Ali and then the password. Now here it also asks you if it is a public computer or a private computer. Guys, if you select a public computer, then it will have automatically some restrictions on this account in this client. If you say it's a private computer, then it won't have, it will give you more features. So private computer, and you go sign in. If you now, at this point, CAS is going to DC, verifying your authentication, and comes back. If everything is fine, it would let you connect to Exchange server. So this is how it is connecting. So it's going from here to here and here. In 2007, it would still, OWA would still go from here to here to here. In 2007, what about Outlook? Goes directly to Exchange server. 2010, it was completely changed. Now I can do the same thing from my other machine as well. Since other machines are joined, I can log into this machine, and then here I'm going to log in with administrator so that I have two accounts open and send email between them. This is the test we need to do. So here on this, here it is connected. So since it is connected for the first time, it is just asking me your time zone, your language. Once this is done, and it connects you to your mailbox. Now basically in the next screen, you're connected from here to here, now to your mailbox. So it should show you your inbox, outbox, draft, sent, and everything. So which means this account is perfect, this account is working, but there is one last test to do to send email. Now in order to send email, the very first email that I do, the test that I do, I send email to myself. So let's do it. So here I'll just go to new, and in new I'm going to write my own name. So M Ali. Now you can write the complete email address, or you can just go here and click this. This will resolve this name automatically. Now this is another test for us Exchange admins. For me, this test tells me your DNS is working fine, your GC is working fine, your DC is working fine. If you write a name and it is not able to resolve it, let's say another name. So here I'm going to say another name and then try to resolve this. It says no match, which means that either this user doesn't exist, or if you 100% know that this exists and it's not, then DNS is not resolving these names here. Now this is first thing. Now here all I need to do is let's do this test here. So here I just say test and then test. So it is sitting in draft. So it goes into draft in few moments. Now if I press send, it is sending. Now it is at this point, as being Exchange admin, that mail flow should run. It goes into the mailbox, send, a notification is sent to Hub. Hub would come and pick that up and would take that email and then send it back to the same. So here I received it as well. So if I go into my inbox here, I received it. So this is the very first test you need to do. Guys, this one test alone, how many times?
One test alone.
Alone. This one test alone, guys. This one test alone can tell me my complete Exchange environment is working fine. So if users are complaining or they're not able to receive email, it's very slow. So this one test would tell me that this Exchange server, at least this Exchange server is fine. No issues with that. Because if you would have not received email, then you can say, oh, there is some problem. Now the second test, just send it to a second user. Now second user, if I go to EMC, I'd see here within mailboxes, and I'm going to go in break on 5 minutes, and my second user is administrator. So on my second machine, I'm going to open this account. On my second machine, I'm going to open the second account. So let's go to the second machine. What URL do I need? I need the Outlook Web Access URL. So before that, I'm going to go to server and just close this down. Disable IE enhanced security and open. So where do I get the URL? Where do I get the URL? EMC, client access, OWA, copy this URL, and then go onto this machine, select, and open this. Now this means machine was a member, machine is accessible, your exchange. Now at this point, you have only one exchange. So this is connecting to your exchange server. So now in this, again, put it into your favorites. And right here, use the second account. So canapps/administrator and then password, sign in. Guys, you see, it was only the first time that this took time because Exchange was trying to actually activate all those components. Now, second time, third time, it will be really straightforward. So now I'm logged in with administrator here. On this other machine, I'm logged in with Ali. So here this account.
You don't have to be logged in on your computer with that account.
Which one?
On DC, you are not logged in.
No. With Outlook Web Access, you can log in with any account on any computer. So Outlook Web Access is not tied to your machine, but Outlook is tied to, unless you change it. You can change that as well. So here, let me now send email to. So guys, this is exactly what you all need to do as well once Exchange is ready. So this is what we need to do. Here, I'm sending an email to Ali, and again, resolve name, and then do a test 2, and then send an email. Now, it is here, I don't see it because I can go into sent and see, okay, it is sent. What does it mean? It was delivered. It was delivered. If there would have been NDR, it would have been any reason. So here I do see it. Now the last test on this on basic is a reply back to administrator. So here again you would go back, reply, and I'm gonna CC to myself as well in this. So this is reply for test 2. So here you should get a notification you received it here and on this other end. So guys, these this is this is HTTPS. It uses a self-signed certificate. So you can use public certificates as well, but this is a self-signed certificate that Exchange automatically creates for itself. So guys, this is our very first step into Exchange. This is how we do the basic test after install. So we'll go for a break here for 20 minutes, and in exactly 20 minutes we're starting again. Yay!
20 minutes. Sorry, he has to take us some lunch. That's not enough.